Welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders. We are so thankful that you joined us. And please remember to subscribe here on our YouTube channel or follow and like us on your favorite social media outlet, which you can find links to in our show notes for even more fair housing news and insights. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders, episode 92. Today, we are focusing on the choice to be nice or to be compliant. I'm your host, Jonathan Sarr, and we are joined today by Leslie Tucker. And we look forward to your insights on this topic. Nice to have a customer service type topic to discuss today. So, in property management, we know we walk a fine line between compliance and customer satisfaction. In addition, we often deal with the same residents who live in the communities we manage, and we want to help in any way that we can. But we also know that helping can sometimes mean violating the Fair Housing Act. So how can we still be nice while being compliant? So we've got some cool scenarios to go through today, Leslie. So let's watch those, and then we'll get your comments on each of them.
Thank you so much for fixing my dishwasher, Alan. You're always so kind to an old lady. Here, have a freshly baked cookie.
Thanks, Mrs. Kim. I always enjoy our conversations. And besides, I don't see an old lady. I see a wise one who also happens to make the best cookies this side of the Mississippi.
Aw, you're just flattering me. But, Alan, while you're here, would you mind helping me change the light bulb in the bathroom? I just can't seem to get my son over here to do it for me.
Did you notice the playground over here? I know your kids would love to spend a few hours after school playing there, and it will tucker them out so that you can have some time for yourself in the evenings.
That would be nice. But you know what would be nicer? Is if I could make some mom friends so we could help each other out. Being a single mom is challenging, and having friends who understand and who are close by to help is so important. Please tell me that there are moms here, even if their kids are older or younger. I don't care. I just need a community.
Hi, Mr. Grant. Are you doing okay? You look upset.
I really need to talk to you, Morgan. I've lost my job and I can't pay my rent this month. I know there's a late fee policy, but I can't afford it right now. Please, is there any way you could make an exception just this once?
So let's focus on that first scenario where it involves accepting a gift. So what are your thoughts on that and the balance between customer service and fair housing?
So in this scenario, we see kind of two separate issues. The one, as you said, is this maintenance employee kind of accepting a gift, which is a cookie, which was, offered to him kind of as a showing of a thank you or goodwill or something like that. And then the second issue is the resident asking him to do kind of an extra task, something separate, something different that's not on the work order while he's there. I'm sure this is a scenario that maintenance staff find themselves in all the time. When you are there to do a specific task, and while you're there, the resident asks you to do something else. So I know this is probably fairly common. So for the first issue, the gift. So lots of companies actually have written policies stating that maintenance staff cannot accept gifts, they cannot accept money from residents for any reason. But lots of companies don't. And so it's kind of it's up to the staff to use their best judgment in whether they should accept gifts like this. And generally, the best practice is to not accept gifts from residents. Certainly not money, ever. But even, is accepting a cookie going to, land you in hot water in an automatic fair housing violation? No, it's not, of course. But the practice of accepting gifts from tenants, even a small act like this, can and certainly have in the past led to some unintended consequences, by showing that maybe you and a particular resident have a relationship that goes something beyond professional, or that you prefer certain residents over other residents. So you just want to avoid even the appearance, of these types of misconceptions, and accepting gifts is just a part of that.
Okay.
The second issue, which is doing this kind of extra task. In this situation, in the scenario that we just saw, the extra task is very small. Can you help me change a light bulb? If that's part of your job description, is while you are in a unit, you can change a light bulb, then, I don't see any harm in this situation in changing a light bulb. You wouldn't necessarily require an extra work order to do that. But for lots of other types of requests, while you're here, my fridge is broken. While you're here, I have a leak under the sink. Can you please just go, do that since you're here? You know, doing work orders out of order, placing that work order ahead of all the other ones that you have on your list for that day would be kind of outside of your normal procedure. So making sure that that resident knew that this is a separate job, they need to put in a separate work order, and then you will get to it in the order that it was submitted, would be the better practice, in keeping with, making sure your policies are being enforced consistently.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, what about our second scenario? So, this involves a single mom, family. What what are your comments on that particular conversation?
So in this scenario, the staff person is basically encouraging a family with children to move in. And then, in the same conversation, being forced to, or faced with a question about, who else lives here? What other type of people live here? And in regards to her encouragement for the family to move in, I really think this is kind of just a sales technique. Hey, look at our amenities. Look at what we have that we can offer you. You would really enjoy it here. So there's really nothing wrong with doing that. Even though it is a family with children, you are sort of appealing to their interests. Nothing wrong with that from a sales perspective. That being said, as long as you are encouraging someone to move into your property and not look elsewhere because of their protected category, that's okay. If the employee had said, oh, you have this lovely family, I think you might be happier at this property down the street because they have this great playground, that would be illegal because it is steering. It is encouraging someone to kind of go to a certain area, a certain property, because of their protected category. Mm-hmm. Regarding the question that the applicant or the prospect posed, the question is ultimately asking about the makeup of your tenant population. And even if you are, asked the question in good faith, you can't answer it. It is related to the protected categories of your existing tenants. She's saying which of your tenants are families with children, and therefore you cannot answer it. It's considered, it's not steering, but it is sort of allowing that prospect to make decisions on that basis. And you really can't be involved with that. So the best thing for her to do is say, I'm so sorry, I can't answer that question for you, but I think that you guys would be really happy here. I encourage you to put in an application.
All right, very good. Thank you for that explanation. And so for our last scenario, this is one we see in our community questions a lot, late fees. So based on the scenario, what would be your comments for our audience today?
So this tenant is asking for an exception to your normal policy, but not for any disability related reason. He's just going through a hard time and sort of asking for essentially a favor. He's asking for you to do something differently as a favor to him. This is truly a customer service issue. And it's management's decision whether you approve this request or not. However, keep in mind that if you decide as a, sort of showing of good customer service that you are going to make this exception and not charge him a late fee, this is a favor that you now must extend to anyone who asks. It can't just be for one person if you're going to make this decision to make an exception to your rules.
All right, very good. Appreciate you so much sharing your comments and insights. So great scenarios. We see how much customer service and fair housing, how they're related. And I know our audience really, really benefited from it today. So great topic, episode 92. Thank you, Leslie, for being on the show today, joining us. Thank you to our awesome fair housing community. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we can't wait to hear your feedback about today's episode. Do you have a topic that you would like to see discussed in a future episode? Feel free to share that with us. In the show notes, you'll see a link to sign up for our newsletter. This newsletter will keep you up to date with our latest episodes, blogs, and information about our online fair housing courses. Thank you again, and happy training.